Hello, hello, hello. It's time once again to hear from Norm Winski. Norm, it's been a couple of weeks. It's a couple of weeks too long. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Jeff. I was last on your show on November 25. We had a couple of big events coming up here there in the ensuing days, and we're going to go over those now. It's very important to review these cycles so you'll know that's how I forecast based on how these cycles respond. The markets have responded to these cycles in the past. So we have on the notes here the first item is November 25 AC. That means after the close, so that's overnight between the 25th and the 26th. If we have a good setup, we'll be looking to do a trade around the opening of the next day. Mercury on the night of the 25th, Mercury in the sign of Sagittarius was turning retrograde. Anytime we have Mercury, that's your grains, corn, soybeans, wheat. And also keep in mind that stocks potentially respond to all these events. So rather than to keep saying the stock market, stocks every time, I just assume that the stock market is included unless I tell you otherwise, which is a low percentage probability. All right, and then the night of the 29th, that was the weekend, over the weekend of the 29th, we had a new moon. Anytime we have a new moon, we round up the usual suspects, which are financials, grains, precious metals, soybeans, and oil. And then also that weekend, it was a double whammy. We had Mercury, a big Mercury cycle, hitting zero north latitude. That's also the grains, corn, soybeans, wheat. So we had 3 points for the grains. We're going to look at those right now. Here's the corn. All right, now it looks like that's not very good, but actually, because the corn has been trading in such a narrow band, the scaling is such that a big bar like that is not that much money. It's only about 5 cents or $250. So we had the right day. It went a little bit against you, but then it went back the other way, and you had a chance to make a small profit. This is the first cycle there, the Mercury retrograde. Then we had a Mercury and the moon over the 29th weekend right there. And so that was those were all winners. Small winners, albeit, but still all winners. Here's soybeans. That's the Mercury retrograde there, made a pretty nice low there for a short-term low, and you had a chance to make some money in the beans. Here's the wheat. The wheat did not care about Mercury retrograde. It kept going, so that's a red arrow for a miss. But then when we got to the moon and the other Mercury cycle, that was a okay short-term low there to make a small profit. Now the oil was really excellent. Oil came down right into the moon there, and then you can see it popped up nicely, and I think that's about somewhere in the neighborhood of 2.5 handles, which is about $2,500. So, okay, so here's the silver. Silver made a short-term high there on the moon. Gold also made a short-term high there on the moon. That was about 40 handles there, so about $4,000 if you're trading the big gold. And S&P did make a short-term high here. You can see it dropped the next day, and you had a chance to make about 40 handles there. That's about $2,000. S&P got to the moon and the Mercury cycle, and just went sideways, so I'm counting that as 2 misses. If you've watched me before, you know I usually do really well in the S&P, so we just had a bad period there for the S&P, so 2 minuses there for the S&P. Here's the bonds on the moon. That was pretty good. You can see it made a nice high there and pulled back about $1.50 for that's $1,500 on bonds. And here's all the currencies were really all good. Your U.S. dollar made a low right on the moon. Aussie dollar made a high right near the moon. That was all on the new moon. And then you had the British pound that made a high on the new moon. Canadian dollar made a high right on the new moon. That was like instant money, no heat, no drawdown. Euro, that was good. That was also the same deal. Top right there on the moon. Yen went a little bit against you before turned over, rolled over. And then here's the Swiss franc. Also no heat, no drawdown, and immediately turned down. So those were all good. So if you count up the arrows, we got 18 winners, 3 misses out of 21 for 85.71%. Here's what's coming up next, and I've got some special stuff for you here on the stock market because we're getting to some harmonic points on some of these prices. So, but I'll get to that in a minute or two. Okay, so today is the 5th, and tonight we have Mercury at perigee. Perigee is at the closest point to the Earth, and that's the corn, soybeans, wheat. Keep in mind, stocks are involved in all these points. We have a Jupiter point here for perigee. Jupiter's closest to the Earth. Watch the stock market. Don't have any other really markets to talk about. We also have a double Mercury here tonight. Mercury is both perigee, that's Earth, and perihelion, that's to the sun. And so we have corn, soybeans, gold, soybeans, wheat. Keep in mind that when Venus was aphelion back on October the 30th, that was so far the high of the year for gold, and then it dropped more than 200 handles after that. So this perihelion aphelion cycle for gold has been very effective. There was also a Mercury aphelion back in October, which worked pretty well on a nice short-term swing. And now this is big stuff coming up here this weekend. The weekend of the 6th, we have Mars, and Leo is going to turn retrograde. Leo is gold and corn. And you see here, looking for a change in the corn and the gold. And Newton's law is always kind of overlaying this, in that for every action, there's an opposite equal reaction. So we're looking for those markets that are at some sort of extreme and going down. They've been going down, 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 or up, up, up. That's good. That sets up a potential good setup. If they're going sideways, take a pass, because the opposite of sideways is just more sideways. Think of a mirror image. That's how these things tend to operate. And then Neptune in its own sign of Pisces, so that's a double whammy. We're looking for a change in trend. Oil, I think oil has been trending lower the last few days. So here's what I want to add here, unofficially, off the record, for the stock market. S&P is getting to, I think it closed just under 6,100 this afternoon. And I think I mentioned this in previous shows, that I had a Fibonacci projection. 46 number is the number. That was projected 3 or 4 months ago, and we're getting close to that number. And also, I usually don't track the Nasdaq very well, because my whole philosophy is I want to keep with the main flock of sheep here in the middle of the road, and not go off. Nasdaq tends to be somewhat of a maverick, goes off on crazy tangents. But I do have a number here for the Nasdaq. I'm going to pull up some other notes here just for a moment.
Norm, just so you know,
so,
Norm, when you gave the number for
yes?
S&P, there was no sound. So why don't you give it again?
What happened?
There was no sound. For some reason, the sound went out when you gave your number for the S&P.
Okay. The S&P. Oh, the S&P number, no sound.
No.
Oh, the number for the S&P for the Fibonacci projection was 6146. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now my Nasdaq number that I'm looking for, a harmonic number, possible resistance, might be a turn there. The low end and the pandemic panic of 2020, that was March the 21st, NASDAQ got to composite, got to 6631.42. If we multiply that times 3, we get to 19,894.26, which is just above where the high was today. So keep those numbers in mind, 19,894.26, and the S&P number we're looking at is 6146 for a possible resistance level there. Okay, those are harmonic levels on the two major stock market indices. All right, well, there's my forecast, and it's the holidays, so I want to wish everybody happy holidays and tell you about my holidays special. If you call me in the next 10 days by the 15th of December, I will give you lots of free stuff. I'll give you the report I just sent to my clients. You can have last month's letter. I'll give you a one-to-one class and answer your questions and explain some of these technical terms, whatever you like, and we'll get you going for free. And if I don't help you make more money, you get all your money back for free. There you go, free. And just mention Jeff, you can get double your money back on the free stuff. There you go. Okay, so here's who I am. If you don't know me by now, I've been doing this about 50 years or more. Started doing this in college in the early 70s. Made enough money to buy a membership on the then fledgling Chicago Board Options Exchange. I moved to Chicago right out of school in 75, and I was a member and market maker, risking my own money on the floor there for 12 years. Also did a little stint on the Chicago Board of Trade, trading the futures there. And so please contact me right away. We got a 10-day offer here now, and I haven't done this before. It's a once in a year deal. Call me here in beautiful Naples, Florida at 239-594-3939. That's 239-594-3939. Or you can call me on Skype for free at nwinski@yahoo.com. That's nwinski@yahoo.com. And that is also my email address. So you can send me an email and we'll set up a chat on the phone or the Skype. And looking forward to helping some of the folks there, Jeff.
You've been helping them for years, and you did it again. A great track record. Norm, we'll see you back in a couple of weeks.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Happy holidays.
And to you too. Bye-bye.